everyone want to know this. How to cater, how to deal with Gen Zs.
Two different generations at work. Now, this generation wants text messages, communication via email. This generation wants pick up the phone and talk.
When we talk about burnout specifically, what has been your experience?
The burnout really becomes a key thing in corporate.
Suppose if I am working under you, even for me setting a boundary with you is very difficult. So how to deal with it?
It starts with setting boundaries. I know it's difficult.
What are the early signs of burnout?
Or you're closed down and you're in a shell and you've just locked yourself in a small area. You stop eating properly.
How to identify right coaching?
The right person to do these two things for you. They're asking you questions and they're listening to you. You have to good chatbot.
How this burnout thing work in different situation and different cultures.
And then when you have a conversation with people, you will know what is bothering them. And that will help you become more aware about their situation.
Cultural pressure, peer pressure, work pressure, and our body is giving signs. So how to balance it?
Whenever you're stressed, the box breathing technique.
हमको वो चीज़ करनी नहीं चाहिए. So how to fight with it?
So when you ask yourself the inner voice, the inner critic,
why we are not able to delegate the tasks?
We feel we want to control it. We may, but we don't have the need to control everything.
Something where you feel yourself a failure.
Why am I here? Right? You want to change that. So it initially, because you're escaping, it looks easy, but eventually it gets very difficult to manage.
Burnout एक अलग ही दुनिया है, राइट? इस दुनिया में हम खुद को इतना ज़्यादा कंफ्यूज कर देते हैं कि एंजाइटी क्या है, डिप्रेशन क्या है, मल्टीपल लेबल्स जो इंस्टाग्राम में सुनते हैं, सब मिक्स हो रहा है. But today, after actually getting burnout and being on a hospital bed, I missed my coach and I really called him. Let's have a podcast. Let's have a conversation. So today we are going to decode the methods, how to go from burnout to have a good breakthrough in life, which is not only just going to help us in our corporate life as well as in our personal lives. Hi. This is Dipti Chawla, co-founder of Wellbeing Sutra, and welcome to the Wellness Talk by Wellbeing Sutra. Today, we have my coach, my favorite coach, Mayank Akhani, Director, Global Leadership Development Team at eTech Global Services. That's where I also bloomed my career. Very grateful to the company and my coach. Mayank helps a lot, has helped globally a lot of leaders, a lot of people personally, professionally, as well as he's an NLP trainer and life coach. So not just simple life coach, but he helps through the managing different perspective of life as well as the corporate life. Let's get into the world of corporate wellness with Mayank Akhani. So finally, Mayank, we are here together. Welcome to Wellness Talk by Wellbeing Sutra, and I am really so excited to have you here. How are you today?
First, I am really excited to be here. It's been a while that we've really caught up, and it's so nice to see you again. I am doing amazing. I just celebrated my birthday right after Diwali. We went to a really nice place. So it's been life's never been better. That's how I could really tell you about how I am right now.
Great. I mean, see, it is a very different feeling that your coach is sitting and I'm, taking podcast or like having this wonderful, session with you. You have taught me what I am. I'm really grateful. As it's a platform, I'm expressing my gratitude towards you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being my coach, my friend, my mentor. I'm really blessed.
Thank you for saying that. You're just saying it out of humility. I've seen you grow and evolve from when we worked together to after you left work and then you started something of your own. I've seen the transition in you, and the way I see you today. It's a remarkable journey that you have embarked upon, and I'm really fortunate to be here with you today.
It's life.
Yeah, it is.
We have to embrace everything.
It absolutely is.
So, why in life or also in my career, personally also, professionally also, when you used to be my coach in like I will definitely mention thank you eTech because of that we connected again and again, and of course you have been my NLP coach as well. So I've learned a lot, but with that in life there are many phases we all have gone through, and the most important thing is corporate phase, working phase, and even after I left corporate world, I'm like I need more coaching. I felt that way, and you have been always there. So how does this concept of burnout works? Like why it is so easily accepted in corporates?
See, one, like you mentioned, you talked about corporates, and now you have actually built your own corporate, right? And with there, the pressure is real. There is like you really need to meet your goals. You need to build, meet the demands that people come up with. You need to be on your toes, getting things done. So when you really pressured to, achieve a lot, automatically, at one point you'll start feeling the burnout. You'll start feeling the burnout. And you're right, there are two parts to it though. One where there will be there'll be a certain group of people who might expect you to work extra, who might expect you to do a lot more things, right? And they know that you might get burnt out, but because they have lived their life like that, they expect you to do the same, and they have not been able to evolve. And the second set, which is a little more difficult to handle, is where people don't really care. People have, for a leader, they'll assign you certain things and they'll expect it to magically happen. They'll never be there to ask you, to guide you, to talk to you through that process. And people who experience burnout that way, they are more prone to, all the other mental illnesses, and it's easier for them to get to that breaking point, because there is nobody to talk to. In the former, because people, you go and tell them, hey, you know what, this is really frustrating, they might take a step back because they are not aware. But here they are not even present to be aware, and that is where the burnout really, really becomes a key thing in corporates.
See, like I'm bringing this very early in this entire session, and our we have. It's very difficult to work with Gen Z. Recently, post Diwali, we had a founders meet. We all the colleagues today we all have our own company, so we met, and the only complaint, we are firing Gen Zs, but the other one says we need to learn from Gen Zs. This age or generation gap, but how to manage, because you are training and coaching since a very long time, and you have dealt with all age groups, different mindset, different nationalities. So how to cater this? I am sure everyone want to know this, how to cater, how to deal with Gen Zs.
That's a question I think I get in every conversation I have with any leader today, and that is dealing with multi-generational people. Because if you look at it today, it's not just Gen Zs, but when you look at a normal workplace, you'll have at least 4 or 5 generations working together under the same roof.
True.
And it's crazy. Every generation has their own quirks and traits that we need to adapt to. Like even in our families, it's not easy to get along with our parents, their mindsets, our mindsets, and our children, their mindsets. It's very, very different. Now, one thing that I think we need to understand and to deal with different generations is the word empathy,
Okay.
right? Putting yourself in their shoes. Putting yourself in their shoes. I'll give you an example to understand this better. Let's say, you talked about the Gen Zs.
Yeah.
Now, Gen Zs generally do not prefer having verbal conversations.
Okay.
They would prefer, text me, email me, and I'll take care of it. Right. I've seen this at my own place. My daughter, if you ask, if she needs something from her friends, instead of calling, she'll text them and wait for them to respond. Now you look at how we did things when we were growing up. We would immediately pick the phone, and talk to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if there are two different generations at work, now this generation wants text messages, communication via email. This generation wants pick up the phone and talk.
Right.
Right. So when you're able to understand the core needs, you're able to bridge the gap. So for an example, if there is a person on my team who is a Gen Z and they want email, and I want a face-to-face or a telephonic conversation, I'll send them an email, hey, come prepared, we need to discuss this. When we have a meeting, they're more prepared to have that conversation. And then once we are done with the conversation, either we ask them to send an email or I send them an email on this is what we discussed.
Okay.
Right? So it's about meeting the needs of both the parties. This is just one example, but when you look at Gen Zs, it's more about understanding them. They've gotten a lot more exposure real quick.
True.
When you look at, my niece is like 5 years old now, and she has exposure to a lot of things. She needs something, she would go to Google, ask it, she'll have that information.
Yeah.
Now, when we look back at what we did when we were 5 years old, I don't think we even remember, or we had the wisdom to actually access internet. We did not have internet then.
Even
Right?
if
So
we
that part
used
is
to
crucial.
access digital platforms, Google it or something, we always needed a second opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
We always wanted a call. Now reviews, things are just online, and even, oh God, blessing AI. I would call it a blessing.
It is. It sure is. It actually helps you accelerate anything you want to do.
So, as you have multi generations, you have worked with it. When we talk about burnout specifically in corporates, there was a time, even we were working together that time, COVID time. After that, everything has gone virtual. Still, companies, there are many startups, many like corporates, they are working completely virtual. Saving on, of course, but it is compromising health. Somewhere it's good also, somewhere it's bad also. As you been in one-on-one touch with lot of leaders, lot of their employees, and many CEOs and so many people, what has been your experience?
So one, you're right. You're absolutely right. After COVID, things have changed drastically. The
Yeah.
world is like a different place. Last 10 years, when you look at the first chunk of 5 years, 2015 to 2020 versus 2020 to 2025, the world's a very, very different place. The growth has been, at a rapid pace, even beyond what you can imagine. What's really happened during that course is after COVID, a lot of people started working virtually. And when people started working virtually, there was the line between work and personal space got really blurred.
Yeah.
Right. And when that line got blurred, you started responding to emails like late in the night or early in the morning, and it just did not work. Right. You would get frustrated. You would end up not being okay because you're constantly working. You're
Yeah.
constantly working. You have emails on your phone. You have Teams messages popping up even when you're sleeping. And if you do not draw that boundary like we used to, before COVID, because before COVID, after your shift time, you would not want to check your emails.
True.
You would not want to access Teams messages. But because you're working from home, that line has blurred, and that has caused a lot more burnout for people. One thing that I recommend, and talk to leaders about is having a personal boundary. Okay, after this time, I'm not responding to an email. I might check the email, but I'm not responding unless and until it is urgent. Because a lot of us work in a 24/7 environment.
Absolutely.
You'll keep getting emails, but there is one part where you'll have to draw that line that I'll respond to this then. So that part is crucial to understand.
Why I'm asking this, because it is very much like last 2 days I was in office. I just went home last night after 2 days, and I slept because today we had to record this, and I got a email and calls at 2 a.m. at night because client thinks they work 24/7. Though we are entrepreneur today, it's like they are available 24/7. I know this is my mistake that I haven't set a clear boundary. But it's like it's very difficult for entrepreneurs, as well as, suppose if I'm working under you, even for me setting a boundary with you is very difficult. So how to deal with it?
This aligns with one more thing that people have difficulty with, and that is saying no. Right? This entirely aligns with that. A lot of times when we say no, the idea is that we're being disrespectful or we are not taking care of their needs, and that is the mindset that comes in. What we really need to understand is change the way you think about no. Right? First of all, saying no is like a normal boundary and you can absolutely set it. But if you feel the guilt about saying no, then go out there and give them a positive alternative.
Okay.
Like, I can get this done, but this would mean I'll have to delay ABC tasks. Are you okay with that?
Okay.
Right?
Clear communication.
Clear communication. Second, you could also go out and tell them, hey, you know what? I've just logged out. I'm going to look at this the first thing in the morning when I start.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I get emails, and on my phone, I've kept it on do not disturb. Like, it goes on sleep mode at 11:45 in the night, and until 7:30 in the morning, there are no notifications on my phone. Because if I don't get that 7.5, 8 hours of proper sleep, my work is going to get compromised the other day. Right? So, we have to change that guilt setting in us, that by responding, I'm probably going to give them a half-baked answer.
Right.
Which they wouldn't appreciate as well. They'll
Right.
complain about it. So I let them know that if this is not urgent, I'll work on it the next day, or I'll give them a time frame of when I can actually get that done. So that part helps you do it better. It starts with setting boundaries. I know it's difficult. I know it's painful for certain personalities.
Really.
But the sooner you do it, the better it is going to be for you and for the clients who are really waiting for the end result from you.
So that's actually makes sense, because anyhow we will have to communicate, as it's just going to affect the quality and the productivity ultimately. As a leader, like, I won't call myself still an entrepreneur because I'm really doing a lot of things, but yes, I'm a leader. I have a team. They are dependent on me. I have that much of pressure, and same goes with you as well. I reached hospital last week. Like, my Diwali was like totally into stress, but the problem is not that I couldn't recognize the early signs of burnout. The reason was burnout. I was not knowing my vitals, my hemoglobin, everything dropped. It's like dead person. But I realized that very late. What are the early signs of burnout? Because as a leader, you know it better. You coach them.
You're right. And before we talk about that, there's one part that I want to merge. You talked about being an entrepreneur versus being a leader. I think everybody is an entrepreneur. Even leaders are entrepreneurs in their own might. And when people start thinking like that, for an example, if I start thinking like my part of the business is what I own, I will be very passionate about it, and it'll look very different. Coming to your question around the early signs of burnout, like you mentioned, you went through your blood work.
Yeah.
And you realize that the hemoglobin is low. Your body starts giving you signals before you actually do the blood work. Right? Before you go to the hospital, we know we are not well.
Yeah.
And that is when the doctor is going to ask you to do the report, the blood work. So our body is going to start giving you those signs. One, the biggest one is irritability.
Oh.
When you start feeling that I'm suddenly getting irritated with small things that did not irritate me earlier, that there is something which is not right. Disturbed sleep. You're not able to sleep well. It's really impacting you. Even when you wake up tired, right? You're not able to focus on things, and this is from our own perspective. What can we recognize in ourselves? We feel that everything around is just not okay. You're just not okay being where you are, or you've closed down and you're in a shell and you've just locked yourself in a small area. You're constantly trying to get one thing done and you're not able to manage it. You've stopped eating properly, right? So those are the early signs that clearly tell you that something is not right and you want to take a pause. You want to take a breather to manage that. And for your teams, like you mentioned, it also happens with our teams. So you want to look for similar signs. So if you have seen that the performance has dropped for somebody, you would want to go ahead and identify go ahead and have a conversation with them. What is really happening? And then based on that conversation, find a way. When you see somebody is getting irritated quickly, when you ask them a question and they're giving you sarcastic responses all of a sudden, which is out of their personality, something's not right and you would want to take a stop. breathe, and then go out there and have a conversation with them.
Makes sense. Makes total sense because we blur lines with ourselves also. I
Yeah.
felt. I was going through all the signs like pretty since months, but I was ignoring completely. So yeah, this will help, and as a leader also it will help us to understand and pick up the performance and
Absolutely.
talk to our team members. So yeah,
What
again,
were your signs? What did you experience before you
I was
actually
not
were
able
burnt out?
to sit and work.
Okay.
And my business partner just took me like, I'm sure you will now go to office and you will sleep. You will ask for tea or coffee and you will be like, I'm not feeling okay. This is happening since months. I'm not going to listen you. Pause your brain. Pause, keep your mouth shut. I'm taking you to hospital. And as soon as doctor came in, within just 5 minutes, he said, I'll check things later on. Go on a bed, and they started saline.
Oh gosh.
So I was on that level and I couldn't recognize. And after coming back from hospital, it's like for almost 5 to 7 days, I was on bed completely. I didn't move from my sofa itself. So then I realized completely, कि, okay, I was this burnout.
Yeah.
And what you are saying, it's like it's giving me goosebumps. Okay, yeah, I was noticing everything. I was not able to sleep, wasn't able to eat, and everything. It happens, but that makes total sense, and I think we should not avoid it.
It's about going from being unaware to being aware, and that is going to make you a doer of it. There's this part that I was just talking to somebody yesterday, and I use an analogy which fits right here as well. You have the red, yellow, green boxes,
Right.
right? So there are those green signs where I'm really happy, I'm excited, I want to talk to people. Yellow signs, I'm getting irritated, but I'm still wanting to go out with people.
Right.
Right. I feel like something is irritating, but I can still get my work done. Red, when I know that a person says one word and it's bothering me, right? Somebody is like breathing in front of me and it's irritating me. I know I really need to go stop and get things done. If I'm in yellow, I can still come back to the green quickly. But if I'm in red, I need an intervention. So you need to understand your red, your yellow, and your green to have to manage your burnout better.
This is a good tool to understand.
Yeah.
Now, as the conversation is flowing, I was asked to meet psychiatrist when I was in hospital, and this given me different level of anxiety. Why? I'm not mental. Because though I work in healthcare industry, all those things, still I was having this, I am not mental. मैं पागल नहीं हूँ. मैं पागल नहीं हूँ. I was yelling at my partner that why. And suddenly he made me understand, and even doctor, just take the session and observe. You are already mindful. This worked with me. Then what happened? I understood a lot of things, but I'm still wanted to understand from you what burnout versus depression. A lot of psychiatrists labeled you that you are in depression. She written in my file after the examination and session, and that made me even angry, like very anxiety, and I was like chaotic. Why? I'm not in depression. I can heal people. What is happening with me? It happens. So, what is the difference between burnout and depression? And people are not knowing. छोटी सी बात होती है जैसे मुझे डिप्रेशन है, मुझे एंजाइटी डिसऑर्डर्स हो रहा है, बट dude, it's burnout. And I know I have also come to you earlier when we were working together in corporate. So I just want you to clear this picture for us.
So, depression is like a clinical term, but there's, like you mentioned, a lot of people today use sadness. When they're sad, they use the word depression really loosely, right? So those terms are used really loosely. I might just be sad, and because of the exposure, because of the words being thrown, using the reels on YouTube, on Instagram, it's easy for you to take those words and absorb those words. And even if you're sad, you might end up saying, I'm depressed. right? And when I start using those words for myself, like we've learned in NLP, I'm taking a detour and I'll come back to the main
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
Like we've learned in NLP, when you tell yourself certain things, you're making it real for you. You're making it real for you. So one, we need to be very conscious about the kind of words and the verbiages we use for ourselves. And when we need to label our emotions right. If we are sad, we are sad. That's not being depressed, right? Depression is a lot to do with how your brain functions and the chemicals in your brains, right?
Totally.
Now that has it does have the component of being sad, but you can be depressed even when everything is amazing in your life. I might have the best life out there, but I could still be depressed, right?
True.
Everything is awesome, but life doesn't make sense.
True.
And that part is very different. And so when you really feel that, you should really meet psychologist and the psychiatrist to actually understand what's really going on there. So they can treat you with medicines, because that intervention requires medicinal intervention, because they need to control the hormones secretion in your brain. You need to get mood elevators, and that is how it'll get fixed. When you're just sad, you need to identify what is causing the sadness, and then understand your area of influence. What is it that I can do to change that?
Okay.
What is it that I can influence? And what is something that no matter what I cannot change and I'll have to accept?
True.
Right? So this area of influence, if we understand it better, it's going to change how you look at the uncontrollables. Most of the times when something makes me sad, we would look at things that we cannot control. It's like that person did this, or usne aisa kiya, isne aisa kiya, and that causes lot more frustration. But what is it that I can do to maintain my peace, my inner circle? And that is what one should look at. So in summary, when you look at burnout, it's your physical body, not physical and mental brain, not being able to manage the workload.
Right.
Right? You're trying to handle multiple things which your body is not allowing you to. Whereas depression is a lot to do with the chemicals in your brain. This could be a source to that, but not necessarily both are the same. Right? And with depression, everything could be amazing in your life, and you could still feel that my life is ending.
True.
Right? And that is a difference that people need to look at, and not use the terms like
Yeah, I mean,
loosely.
labeling loosely anything with and associating, then, like you said, it works.
Absolutely.
Oh, thinking, your thoughts become your reality.
Absolutely.
That becomes
Absolutely. There's just one more thing that I want to add here. A lot of times when you've started feeling burnout, it's important to talk to somebody. It's important to talk to somebody. In corporates, you have employee assistance programs. You have your leaders, you have HR that you can talk to, just go ahead and share how you're feeling. With entrepreneurs, like you mentioned, you might need external coaches to help you with that.
Yeah.
Right? So, and again, when you're talking to a life coach, when you're talking to a counselor, it's not because I'm mad. It's not because I'm mad. It's because every coach needs a coach. Right? I might be able to help others, but I would need to help others do it better.
So we all need support in life because of life has become so competitive. We need coaches, we need companionship, we need supporters. As you are my coach, I want you to tell us that what could be the specific things we should look for the coach, because everything is now fed. A lot of 99 rupees में 3 घंटे का workshop लिया and you are like taking some kind of a course. It doesn't work. It's a constant work, like which I have learned from you. So how to identify right coaching?
So the biggest thing about the right sort of coach would be they will not give you answers straight away. They'll ask you a lot of questions.
Okay.
Right? They'll ask you a lot of powerful questions. Like, okay, if you were a 5-year-old, how would you look at this? If you're a 10-year-old, how would you look at this? If you're an 80-year-old, how would you look at this? If you had nothing to lose, how would you look at this situation? right? If you had a magical wand, what would you really want in life? They'll ask you a lot of powerful questions so that you can get out of the internal limitations that you have. So you need, the one big thing that you would have to look for is people who ask you questions and they listen. When people listen, they'll be able to identify what is happening, and they'll phrase another question and pose it to you. So if you're able to get the right person to do these two things for you, they're asking you questions and they're listening to you, you have hit your jackpot. You've gone to the right person.
Yeah, because I'm seeing, even I have attended a lot of workshops online after COVID. So it's like everyone is coach now, taking a course and certification, which is not actual
Right.
certification. But this is just going on, and sometimes it becomes a pressure for us. Okay, I have taken this course, I have learned this, still it's not working for me. Even that becomes very, chaotic for
Frustrating.
self. So my next question is all about how this burnout thing work in different situation and different cultures.
Again, that's a beautiful question. Burnout. I was recently in Jamaica for a month, and I was there meeting leaders and doing some workshops for them, and I got to know so much about their culture. I have some friends who have offices in Europe. So when you look at the work culture in Europe versus work culture in the US versus work culture in India, and even in India, when you look at the work culture in the metro cities versus the work culture in the coastal regions, it's very, very different. It's very, very different. So everybody has a different 100. And when I say everybody has a different 100, your burnout level could be at a different 100. My 100 could be really different. So when you work with different generations, when you work with different cultures, when you work with different geographies, you will realize that one size fits all culture may not work, but there is an underlying denominator, and that is the same symptoms that we spoke about. When you see that people are getting a little irritated, right? When you see that people are not as motivated as they were like a week ago, when you see that they are not answering your questions, you ask them a really open-ended question and they give you a one-word answer. They are answering in yeses and nos, which is not their usual pattern. You realize that something is not right. So regardless of the generation, some people in certain geographies, doing extra work is rewarded. Where in certain geographies, you will see that they really push you to take extra vacations. They push you to log off early on a weekend. They will ensure that there are times they'll tell you, hey, you know what, just log off. You don't seem to be okay. Take a break, come back when you feel better. And in certain geographies, they'll be like, ye kuch nahi hota hai, kaam kar lo.
Yeah.
Right? So regardless of where we are, as a mindful leader, you'll have to look for those common denominators. And when you're able to spot those common denominators, you'll be able to help your people from that burnout element, right? We don't have to study, all the geographies to actually know that my person's burnt out,
Right, right.
right? Because a lot of, and you rightly pointed this out, there are a lot of times people who work in organizations where they work for different countries, their mindset, their idea would be, I want to understand this, I want to understand that. But there is a common denominator. You start there, and then when you have a conversation with people, you will know what is bothering them,
True.
and that will help you become more aware about their situation.
From this, I wanted to, like, as I started working in eTech, when it was rotational shift, I am still facing that issue. Rotational shift made me a rotational person in life. Like my body clock versus the actual nature's clock. It's not aligning. And a lot of us used to come to the L&D department and coaches to help us that we are not able to manage this cultural pressure, peer pressure, work pressure, and our body is giving signs to how to balance it.
One, communicate. Right. Communicate with your leader on how you feel and what are you feeling so that they can guide you. They can guide you better. And the reason they will be the right people to guide you is because they have also done what you're currently doing. So they'll be able to share some anecdotes, some strategies that worked for them. One. Number two, it takes around 21 days for your body to adjust.
Okay.
Even when you are experiencing jet lags. When I reached Jamaica, we had almost a 10.5 hour difference.
Yeah.
Right, my day here was night there. So first 1 week it was very difficult to adjust to the clock. Very difficult to adjust to the clock, because I was just awake in the night. I was awake in the night. So that goes on to defeat that, where our bodies are aligned to a particular time frame, right? So you can train your body.
Okay.
You can train your body. There are people who work complete night shifts. There are people who work afternoon shifts. There are people, you go to colleges. They're awake till 6 in the morning, and that's when they go to sleep. Right. So what really happens here is you training your body to get enough rest, regardless of what shift you're working. Right. Again, the ideal world would be, okay, we just work when the sun's out and stop working when the sun sets. But that's not the ideal world we are in. We work in a 24/7 environment. We are a country where we serve a lot of other countries. So we will have the 24/7 mindset. So what can we do? Again, I'm not going to talk about what we can't do. I'm going to talk about what we can do. What we can do is give ourselves that 7.5 hours to 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. Right? How can you ensure that? Get blackout curtains. Right. So if we have to look at possibilities, and you're right, it does cause a lot of fatigue, because we are not able to sleep well during the day.
I'm asking this question specifically because I still do that. Like since 2 days, I am not sleeping and I'm awake. Not on coffees, to be very honest. It's just my willpower, and overall gut is like, no, I have to do that. I'm so excited to work. But you rightly pointed that we have to train our bodies to get into new systems rather than adjusting and this curling, folding, this word we do. It takes us in complete different zone. जहाँ रिबेल नहीं बनना है खुद के साथ, जहाँ खुद के साथ ज़बरदस्ती करके खुद को एडजस्ट नहीं कराना है, वो हम कर लेते हैं. बट इट रिक्वायर्स अ प्रॉपर ट्रेनिंग टू गेट इन टू न्यू सिस्टम. Then the fatigue and everything just works well.
A lot of times what I've also seen is, there is this rebel in you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to work night shifts, but I have to work night shifts. So I'm going to rebel against that by not sleeping when I can sleep. I'll do, watch my phone. I'll watch Netflix. I will try everything to not sleep.
Yes.
And I'll get so tired when I'm like almost dead. I'll sleep for a few hours. I'll wake up tired.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm not aware that I'm actually revolting against my own system. So if I accept it, that this is the reality that I need to live with, I'll be more accepting towards taking that enough rest so I can, go back fresh the next day. So that acceptance, I know you'd be like, Mayank, you're using the word acceptance, empathy, boundaries again and again. You'll call me a chief repetition officer. But these are the things that really help you prevent burnout. You draw your boundaries. You understand other people's perspective and share your perspective with them. Empathy. You'll really be able to get to a point where you're able to manage your stress a lot better than how you generally do it now.
Adjust, rebel, but manage. Train.
Accept and train. Absolutely.
So let's talk about the inner circle. We have inner critic. जो बोलते हैं ना, in the mirror there is a other person of you talking to you, that sort of thing. And it happens with a lot of people. Even I have heard it from Gen Z as well. And मेरे से तो रोज एक inner person बात करता है. So when we talk about hard work, or no, when we exactly talk about success, these words pop up: hard work, resilience, consistency, lot of such things. Intelligence and wisdom hai, but the main tools are these. In that, मेंटल रेजिलियंस की कोई बात ही नहीं करता. रेजिलियंस करना है, ये करना है, वो करना है, एक्शंस में करना है, लेकिन पहले मेंटली वो चीज़ हमें ट्रेन करनी पड़ती है, राइट? व्हाट आई हैव लर्न फ्रॉम यू. सो हाउ टू डील विद दिस, बिकॉज लीडर्स के लिए ये स्पेसिफिकली बहुत इम्पैक्ट करता है. देयर इज अ इनर क्रिटिक versus mental resilience. How does this concept work?
So I'll give you an example. There was this time I had to build a brand new workshop, and it was only supposed to be for leaders of leaders. And when I was working on the initial structure, I felt like this is not great. I kept telling myself it might not work, it might not work. And when you hear that, that's my inner voice telling me that it might not work. The inner voice is there to prevent you from failures.
Right.
It wants to protect you. It doesn't want you to be hurt, right? So even when you realize something and you'll be like, I don't want, the inner voice is telling you, don't be hurt, don't try this. So what you have to do is you have to back that up with facts,
Okay.
right? My inner voice is telling me, okay, there is fear here. I have to listen to it. I don't have to obey it. I'm supposed to listen to my inner voice, but I don't have to obey it. Once I listen to my fear, okay, it's telling me that this program might not work. I have to sit down and evaluate the pros and cons and discuss it with somebody else, right? And then do it scared. If you think the pros outweigh the cons, do it scared the first time. And that program that I'm talking about is one of the most popular programs that I do today. And it started from that point where I was really scared of even going out and talking about the outline.
Oh.
To it being one of the most successful programs out there. So the inner voice will give you that fear signs, but you're supposed to listen to it, but not obey it. You're supposed to find, data to that fear, and then, evaluate what works better and what doesn't work better. And the more you keep doing it, it answers your second question. It helps you build that resilience.
Okay.
Because I'm going to listen to my inner voice because it's guiding me, it's telling me something, but I'm not supposed to obey it blindly. And that is how I'm going to train my mind to do better, and that is how I'm going to become resilient.
Makes sense. Makes total sense. Another question I have about many times, like you earlier mentioned, मुझे सोना नहीं है, so I become a rebel. Like I miss flights or I miss train. If I have an early morning flight, तो मैं पूरी रात नहीं सोती हूँ. Same way for work also it happens कि अगर ये important काम है, कल सुबह उठ के नहीं किया मैंने, इससे better मैं आज रात को ही ख़त्म कर देती हूँ, मैं नहीं करूँगी. Or if it happens for important meeting as well. Last night for this podcast, it's very important for me because it's with you. To be very honest, it's special for me. I slept. I changed that and I'm feeling so good. So good. But for lot of us, this is a inner thing. हमको वो चीज़ करनी नहीं दी जाती है. So how to fight with it? And it happens in corporate decisions as well.
You're right. It absolutely does. And that is where, let me bring my 3 boxes again, the red, yellow, green. When you have these boxes in front of you, you are able to determine, okay, green is something that I really need to do right now. This needs to happen right now. Yellow, it needs my attention, but it doesn't have to happen right now. The red, I can keep it for later. It's important, but I don't have to do it like right now. So when you have your strategies actually built, you're able to manage it better. This also links with, a lot of people talk about managing time, right? But if you're able to manage your energy during the day, it works out better. It really works out better. So for an example, if I know that when I start my day, I have the maximum amount of my energy, I don't want any meetings that time. I want to block that time for all the creative things that I want to do. When I know that my energy is mid, that is when I want all the other meetings to come in, because I don't need a lot of creativity there. I want to listen to people, have those conversations. And when I know that my energy is going to really go through the valley, I want to take a break.
True.
So that I can come back energized and I'm at my peak again, right? So in summary, when you're able to channelize what should be done right now and draw boundaries again, chief reputation officer, if you're able to draw boundaries with yourself, you're able to manage the output better. And one thing that I always tell my team, you don't have to do everything.
True. Very true.
Right. There's this time management strategy I looked up on YouTube a couple of years ago, and that has been like my go-to mantra. Whenever a new task comes in, check if you actually need to do it. If you can eliminate it, just eliminate it. Right. Second, check if you can automate it.
Okay.
So I might, like for an example, paying a credit card bill. I might need 30 minutes to automate it, maximum time to, set everything up and all of that. But that will save me 5 minutes every month in remembering and remembering that, okay, the due date is approaching, I have to pay my bill. If it is automated, I have nothing to worry about. It saves me the stress, it saves me the burnout, right? If I can't automate it, check if you can delegate it. Because there is somebody else who can do what I do. They might not be able to do it the exact way I do it, right? But I should be okay with them trying their own hands at it. And if they're able to get that done, I'll delegate it. And only when I can't do any of the three, I'll decide that I need to do it. And if I need to do it, I need to make a call. Do I need to do it right now, or can I park this for later?
True.
That is meaningful and mindful procrastination.
Whoa.
Right? You're mindfully placing this. Okay, you mentioned, there's this podcast, and you know that, okay, I want to really be fresh for it tomorrow. I'm going to take a nap. What am I scared about? That, and then when you're rebelling, you want to ask yourself, what am I really scared about?
Mm-hmm.
Is it that I might not be able to get it done on time? Okay, then what can I do to get it done on time? What can I do to wake up on time? So when you ask yourself the inner voice, the inner critic, like it's giving you fear signals. But you have to ask a question, what can I do to counter this? And if you have that answer, the inner critic is quiet.
So we have to be coach ourselves.
We have to coach ourselves, absolutely. I have to coach me and my 29 other personalities.
So from here it comes like rest is important, but self-management is very important, more than picking up the outer things and what is not to be taken up for us, not take, like it's totally self-management.
Absolutely.
Now this corporate burnout, corporate wellness, it has a culture of no one is appreciated to be an average performer. This is a problem. सबको अच्छा perform करना है, and in this race or cult of performance culture, rest is somewhere lost for a lot of I heard, and then they go out, they take like cigarette breaks, coffee breaks, and even जैसे कल मैंने खुद ने 8 बार चाय पी ली है, and I never do that. So this is becoming our breaks. Are they really breaks?
They absolutely aren't. In most cases, they absolutely aren't. When you really want to take a break, it's about using a different side of your brain. I remember when I was in school, 10th grade, I studied in Mount Abu. So there's this brother, we had brothers, teachers. So this brother came to a class and he was talking about how do we manage ourselves better. And he said that every 1 hour that you study, right, take a 5-minute break and just jump where you are. Just jump. Physical exercise. And we were like, why do we do that? And he said, when you're using that 1 hour to study, you're using one part of your brain. Now, if you're going to take a break and watch phone or read something, or just be there or just talk to somebody, you're using the same part of your brain again.
Yeah.
Where are you really giving your head, that brain, the rest that it deserves? You're not. So when you jump, you're using a different part of your body altogether. So you reset and then you study for those 60 minutes again. Right? Similarly, in one of the workshops I did, I taught people box breathing. Whenever you're stressed, breathe. The box breathing technique. Like, you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold to the count of 4, exhale to the count of 4, and hold to the count of 4, and repeat that entire box 5 times minimum. And you will see a change in how you feel right there.
Okay.
And I've done this for a really huge group of people at eTech, like while on a Teams workshop.
Yeah.
And it changes how people feel. The energy is completely different. It hardly takes 1.5 minutes to get that done.
So from this, again, a lot of burnout comes, and it is my personal example. Those who really know me, they know I'm very bad in delegation. I cannot delegate tasks because I'm too much into my own perfect shell, and it happens with lot of leaders, and lot of entrepreneurs also are facing this issue, and their startup fails.
Right.
And this comes under corporate wellness thing, a big thing. So what are the roadblocks generally? Like, you made me today encounter such things which I was ignoring. There was a cloud. I was like, पता है पर मुझे नहीं पता है. That sort of thing. I'm again repeating. पता है पर नहीं पता है. And it happens even if a CEO, even if a psychiatrist have that kind of thing, पता है पर नहीं पता है. So, what are the actual roadblocks comes? Why we are not able to delegate the tasks?
One is the need for perfection. Like, we want things done our way. There is a need to control the output, control the entire process. That is where, the bigger thing that one should work on is identifying the negotiables and the non-negotiables. Right? So if I'm going to delegate a task to you, I'll tell you, okay, these are the 3, there are 10 steps to it, right? These 3 steps, I want you to do it exactly how I'm asking you to do it. The other 7 steps, you decide how you want to do it, and that will still get us to the same output.
Okay.
So knowing what your negotiables are, and knowing what your non-negotiables are, it still gives you the sense of control. Because I don't have the need to control the entire part of it. I'll determine, okay, this 30% is something that I want to ensure that it is controlled. The 70% I'll let it be on them, right? So for an example, if my wife is going to ask me to clean the dining table after we are done eating food, if she wants me to use colon and a specific napkin, she has to tell me that. But how I do it, what side of the table I start with, what side I end with, that should be my control.
Got it.
Right. So if you have that kind of discussion and very, very clear negotiables and non-negotiables, it works out better for you. I was just sharing this with one person yesterday. They are not able to let the other person do anything because they get nervous. What if they don't do it like that? What if they don't do it like that? So have your list of non-negotiables and negotiables, and it will bring a lot of peace for you. And this part, negotiables and non-negotiables, you can apply it in any scope of your life, even relationships, even how you want to get things done at home. Okay, these are the 3 non-negotiables. No matter what, this has to be done like this. Others, you take your call.
Yeah, life
Right?
becomes easy.
Life becomes easier when you know. We feel we want to control it. We may, but we don't have the need to control everything. So you determine what is important, what do I want to control, and what do I want to just influence and let it be.
Okay, that really makes sense. Recently, while I was thinking that which topics I should pick up and which questions I should ask from you, I went through like a lot of stuff, and I found one reel about cheating. Now, cheating happens in personal life as well as in corporate life. A lot. हमें पता नहीं चलता है. छोटे-छोटा झूठ is also a cheating. ठीक है? But it was rare कि she was saying that people with low IQ and low EQ does cheating. Now, IQ, EQ plays a very important role in your work life, personal life, of course, but work life a lot. And today, the way world is changing, like specifically in my industry, if I don't have my emotional quotient and intelligent quotient at place, I cannot create good content. I cannot be right. And at the same time, I have to be utterly authentic.
Right.
Because AI has made things really helpful, but authenticity is always at peak. So my question here is how cheating can actually turn out into a burnout or something where you feel yourself a failure.
Right. Let me start by talking about. I disagree with that part where we say IQ and EQ are related to cheating. Not necessarily. It has even people with high IQ and EQ may end up cheating, professionally and personally, both spaces. But you're right in that part where people with low IQ and low EQ may be easy to manipulate.
Yeah.
Right, they can get easily manipulated because you're not really thinking of it from that perspective. One, coming back to the entire cheating part of it, when you're working, you have let's say 100 points to get to deliver. You're working at 100% capacity. Now when I want to cheat the system, I have to add another 50, 60, 100% capacity to it. because now I have to also live my role, and I also have to live this lie, right?
Yeah.
So I am already exhausted doing this 100%, and I'm adding another 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 to my kitty. So I have to give a 200% output to it.
And no one thinks about it.
No one thinks about it, because that time you're trying to escape from here, and you jump here, but you don't realize that this is not the only thing that's going to be there. This part is still going to be there, right? So work wise, I might have extra amount of responsibilities. I want to cheat the system, I want to do something else. I have additional responsibilities in my head going on. What will it do if not get you burnout?
Of course.
Right? This is like you have a 4 burner stove at home, and you're cooking on all 4.
There is no space.
How are you going to manage, all the 4 at once?
So why cheating is always considered so easy?
Initially it is, right? Because you're not looking at this. You're trying to escape from here to here.
Escape is easy.
Yeah. So you're trying to escape. But okay, escaping is okay. But are you going to live? Are you going to be able to leave all of that behind? No, that's going to be a part of you.
आज नहीं तो कल तो करना ही पड़ेगा.
Right. So ये जो मेरा काम है यहाँ का, वो तो रहेगा ही, और यहाँ पे भी ऐड हो गया. It is going to burn you out. It is definitely going to burn you out. So in the short term, it might be easy, but the longer term, there will be bigger conflicts happening here. So, a lot of people talk about moonlighting, right? So I have my job, I have the other job. Let's say this week I had less work, and some people start taking other responsibilities out here. So that's become like almost 200%.
True.
And this, it initially looks nice because it's getting extra money and all the other elements. But suddenly the work here is also going to get increased, right? And with the work increasing, because there is frustration on both the ends, there'll be more conflict here, right? So when even this 100 will feel like 200 because of the conflict, this 100 will also become 200 because of the conflict that will happen because of this here. And what's going to happen? You'll be like, why am I here? Right? You want to change that. So it initially, because you're escaping, it looks easy, but eventually it gets very difficult to manage.
So we are inviting chaos that way more.
Yeah. You're like, red flag, let me hug you.
Okay. So other thing is, today, this has become real ka word, emotional quotient. But as far as I know, it's very important when you are specifically at leadership roles. So can you throw some light on it?
You're right. A lot of people talk about EQ, but the self-awareness is really, really less. When you really want to be an emotionally intelligent individual, it starts with knowing yourself better, right? What are the things that trigger you? What are the things that bring you joy? What are the things that are not okay with you? What are your values? What are your negotiables? What are your non-negotiables? What if my non-negotiable is breached? How will I react to it? Right? Having that information about yourself is really, really crucial, so you can control it. Right. So a lot of people don't look at, empathy has become the big word, which it is, right? But you'll only be able to be empathetic if you really know yourself better.
True.
Otherwise, I'll not be able to control the triggers. And if I am frustrated, let's say if I'm frustrated, do you think I'll be able to bring joy and peace to my team members?
Not at all.
Or if I'm frustrated, will I be able to bring joy and peace to people in my home, people at home? Not possible. So with emotional intelligence, it is not just about empathy, but the underlying layers of being self-aware, so that you can control those behaviors and use empathy to bring in a beautiful social structure that you have created for yourself. So, this entire approach is what people really need to look at. And the biggest thing people miss is self-awareness.
Yeah. And from that, the thing is, many times, because of this equation, we are not able to say no. And many times it becomes too difficult to be a diplomat, because in corporates we have to be diplomats. There is not other way. We are not able to say no, as well as it turns out to be a very compassionate fatigue for us.
So one, I guess workplaces are evolving today where diplomacy is not the only way people look at leadership, people look at things. The second part you rightly pointed out, no is, when you say no, you more than the others, you might feel the burden that I said no. They might not even worry about it. You said no, they'll go to somebody else and get the work done. Because for them, work is important. Who does it is not really crucial, right? Because ultimately, even for you, when you are signing something, the work should be done. Who does it? It's not very important. In certain cases, it may be, but in most, it may not be. So, what really is important is when you say no, give people an alternative. The guilt when you say no happens because you feel you're ditching somebody.
Yeah.
Right? You just give them an alternative. Hey, I may not be able to do this, but I know this person will be able to help you right away. Give them an alternative.
Entire thing transferred.
The entire thing transferred. Second, I will be able to get this done for you, but this means that I'll have to delay ABC. Are you okay with that? Or can we assign ABC to somebody else so I can take care of this for you?
Break it down.
Right? So you're actually telling people that I only have 100. Like I love math. So like I have only 100 blocks, 100 points right now. If you want me to do something, you'll have to take 40 for me if you want to add another 40 here. I might be able to stretch it to 110, but definitely nobody can go to 150, 200 because that is eventually going to die you down. Right? So when you're saying no, don't feel that guilt that you're doing somebody you're not just abandoning somebody's need. No, you're not. You're giving them an alternative. You give them an alternative, give them something else that can be done so that you are out of that guilt. And the more you practice this, you'd get to a point where saying no is okay. Just like it's okay to not be okay, it's okay to say no.
Yeah. You know what? While talking to you, I'm myself solving a lot of problem and I'm like missing coaching from you. So, what happens generally, Mayank? A lot of us want to really upgrade, want to take right decisions, want to really help. And, with the same time, we want to maintain boundaries as well. But there is no space in brain. And this happens often with leaders. We are not in a position to think, to function, to process. So how to deal with it? And lot of people say कितना पढ़ेंगे, book पढ़ने का time नहीं है, सुनने का time नहीं है, ये करने का time नहीं है, because these are the tools we need as a leader. So how to manage this situation?
Breathe. So it starts with taking a pause and breathing, ensuring that when things are really jumbled up in our head, we want to settle it down. We want to untangle it, right? And have you realized that when something is untangled, like threads are tangled, you cannot untangle it with frustration. You can only untangle it with patience. You have to take a pause, and only then can you do it. Similar thing for our brain and for our head. One, breathe. Just stop everything and just breathe. Like the deep breath so that your body feels that you're relaxed. Your box breathing, it actually it's cheating the system of where you are. Because when your body is like, when you're overwhelmed, when there are like so many things happening, you're not able to breathe in deep. So your body knows that you're stressed. You're like on the move. The moment you trick yourself, when you take deep breaths, you're telling your body, I'm okay. And when you tell your body, I'm okay, you're able to identify, hey, you know what? I'm okay. And now I'm going to look at 5 pieces and I'm going to work on it one by one. Right? And when you start working at it one by one, it starts getting better for you. So, breathe and then slowly, gradually untangle it.
Okay. Now, that actually makes sense because we need to create a space to think, and
Absolutely.
breathing is the best and easily available tool.
Yeah, just go out, or if you not many people would have the luxury, but if you do, go out there, take a walk in the grass.
Yeah.
Right?
Even stairs work.
Yeah.
Climbing stairs and all
Just
those.
change your environment and do something physical.
Okay.
Change your environment, change the scenery, do something physical, and you will see that a different energy has already come in before you are able to respond to that. You'll end up not reacting. You'll be able to respond to it better.
Yeah. Another new terms, as we are talking like too many new terms as Instagram has given in the corporate culture as well, is vibe, which actually means energy. So मेरी वाइब नहीं मैच हो रही है ये लीडर के साथ, आई वॉन्ट बी वर्किंग. वाइब नहीं आ रही है, दिस पर्सन लुक्स वेरी लो. वाइब नहीं होती है, एनर्जी होती है, राइट? सो हाउ डज दिस energy thing works in corporate culture as well?
There are people you would instantly connect with. You just have a conversation with them. You'll be like, oh, I like this person. And there are people who'd be like, you have the first conversation with people and you'll be like, I don't like this person. I don't like this person so much. And there is a third category where you will change your thought about a person after having a couple of conversations with people. But an advice to everybody is, regardless of where they are, test how you want to communicate with them, and that happens with calculated vulnerability.
Okay. What's that?
I'm not going to share everything about me openly, but I'm going to ask them a difficult question. I'm going to bring up a situation that is bothering me, which is not very critical, to see how they react, and that will help me understand the kind of depth that this relationship can go to. And the more I start becoming more vulnerable slowly and gradually, the relationship deepens. The trust develops, right? And when the trust develops, the vibe that you're talking about will automatically come in. So what we really need to do is give time to that relationship.
Right.
Give time to that relationship. And after doing all of it, you will still have some people that you would not like.
Yeah.
And which is okay. And it's okay. You don't have to like everybody to work with them. But because I don't like them, doesn't mean I'm out there to get them. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to seek their guidance where required. I might not be personal with them. I tested vulnerability. It didn't work. I'll take a step back, but I'll ensure that there is this respect for that role, that position that I'll always have with me. Right? So, and that is how you are creating your own vibe that way.
True.
Right? So it's not just about the other person's vibe. What is the vibe that you bring in? So that is also what one needs to look at.
Right. So I remember there was a get to know session.
Yeah.
So that has now become a vibe check session. Okay. Many a times we don't have clarity on lot of things, though we are expert of it, and it happens. And we totally go blank. Like, I've gone for a meeting, and this is a very critical condition, I would say, and it happens with a lot of people, and maybe it's a performance anxiety or what, I don't know. But how empathetically we need to deal with the situation, because sometimes we have to be patient with ourselves as well. Yes, we can also go wrong. A lot of people get overly frustrated, then बार में बैठ के ड्रिंक्स कर रहे होंगे, that मुझसे ये काम क्यों नहीं हो पाया, मैं ये क्यों परफॉर्मेंस नहीं कर पाया. एंड दिस इज कमिंग फ्रॉम दिस सीरीज एंड मूवी कल्चर ऑल्सो, कि हाँ मेरे साथ भी ऐसा हो जाता है. तो हाउ टू डील विद इट, खुद के साथ कैसे डील किया जाए?
One, telling yourself it's okay to not be okay. And second, knowing that I don't need to know everything and I'm not supposed to get everything done, right? When I know that, I will be a better learner. When I expect 100 from me at all times, I'll never be able to get to 100 at all times. There will be times where I'll be a 60. There will be times where I'll be a 50. And I should be okay with that, right? Telling yourself that if something did not work my way, what did I learn from it? What is it that I need to do better after this point? And if you don't do what you said you need to learn or work on, then you're doing yourself a disfavor, right? So if I realize from let's say from this conversation, I realize, Mayank, you shouldn't have said something like this, right? And now I'm going to work on myself, make it better the next time. But if I don't work on myself, then I'm doing disjustice to me. I'm not being fair. I'm not being teachable here, right? So that, instead of throwing tantrums and being scared is okay, being upset is okay, but acting out and not doing anything about it is not, right? Like you mentioned, if you're not in Gujarat, you can go out there and drink. But after that, what am I going to do to change that? That is the critical part.
So it's like what even I do also, that sometimes, okay, I'll have coffee, I'll go for a movie and I'm done. But I just avoid and escape from that moment. Again, that theory comes, I'm cheating my system.
Yeah, and then you're going to be in that same zone again.
Right. Perfection तो लाना ही है फिर से.
वही सिचुएशन वापस आएगा, एंड देन वी वुडंट नो हाउ टू डील विद दैट, बिकॉज वापस हम लोग वही लूप में चले जाएंगे. ये नहीं हुआ, मैं गुस्सा हो जाऊंगा, मैं चीज़ें फेंकूंगा, मैं कुछ और कर लूंगा, बट हाउ डू आई मेक इट बेटर, उस पर वर्क नहीं करूंगा.
Right. Very
Right.
true.
So if you keep escaping, like you jump from here to here, you're adding 200, and instead of just keeping it a simple 100.
So from that, I have a other question. There's a book called Courage to be Disliked. I am reading it. That's okay, but incorporates in rejections. Personal life is totally different. Fear of rejection, बोलते ना, अच्छा खासा चलते हुए इंसान को भी गिरा देता है. And this new generation becomes arrogant about it. And we become insecure about it. Millennials becomes insecure about it. Fear of rejection from the new people. And they are like, fear of rejection from experienced person है, इसको बहुत ज़्यादा आता है, इससे better let's be arrogant. This is creating a lot of problem in the system, to be very honest. And I'm myself observing it. How it should be dealt. Fear of rejection, fear of being disliked, fear of not getting selected for a specific thing or not getting shortlisted. This is reaching to one consider themselves a failure. How to deal with it?
There are two parts to this. One is you really have to distance your personality from the skills and behaviors that get impacted, right? So if there is a behavior that I do not know, if there is a skill that I do not know, does that make me a less of a person than I am today? Right? I might not know how to play a guitar. I might not know, how to ride a sports bike, for an example. But does that make me less of a person to what I'm dealing with today? Right? So in the market, there are like so many skills, so many behaviors that people have, right? I need to know what is it that I need to absorb. And if I'm learning there, then, you need to be self-sufficient. Okay, this is what I really need to know, and this is what's going to make me happy. One part. Second part to it is, we end up comparing ourselves with other people a lot, which is good and bad in a way. Now, good because, there are things that I might not even know that I'm getting exposure to, right? But that exposure, if it is telling me to work on myself and make myself better, it's good. But if that exposure tells me, man, my life sucks, right? And then we go into the zone that you are talking about. We are like, we just not able to get anything done. We're going back to the previous, what we talked about earlier. We are not going to do anything about it. We'll go look at somebody else having better skills, and again, we'll get frustrated. We'll not do anything about it, and we'll keep going through that circle until life ends.
Yeah.
Right?
What happens, we are filling up burnout. We create burnout by adding entertainment, adjusting entertainment in a wrong block, rather than we have to work on that part.
Absolutely. This is like, my, like you talked about blood work earlier. Let's say my hemoglobin's low, right? But I'm going to work on some other part of my body, right? So it doesn't work. Like, you have to address the problem. You have to address the problem. Just by creating an alternative doesn't solve the problem that is there. It's not going to go away, right? You have to have those difficult conversations. Have those conversations, and linking it back to what you talked about, different generations. When there is a generational clash, one, we need to openly communicate with them by asking them a lot of questions.
Right.
right? With the latest generation coming in, they have a lot more exposure than the previous generations did in their age and time,
Right.
right? Now what, and if you have better wisdom in terms of execution, you have to ask them questions so you can help them realize what is it that they need to work on. If you keep telling them, it's not going to work. You have to ask them, you have to help them realize that, and then ask them to create a different a path for them altogether.
True. Absolutely true. Now, like, I was so excited to know about this thing and share with everyone. I've learned NLP from you. You are a coach. You have reached to different level, but not everyone understand these terms very well. And I don't want you to talk about it, but any specific 5 hacks which can help a corporate majdoor to become a corporate king.
Oh wow, this is interesting. So neurolinguistic programming is an amazing hack. Like you mentioned psychology earlier. Psychology helps you deal with, okay, what really happened, go to the core of it, and then fix it. Here, it's like a fast forward movement. Whatever happened. Let's look at something different. I'm going to give you one hack. You said 5. I'm going to give you one hack that changes everything, and that is the habit building. How do you build a new habit?
Okay.
Right?
Interesting.
Like for an example, I am sad, right? Now I know when I'm sad, I end up doing one activity. Let's say I take up drinking, or I have like a lot of coffee, or when I'm stressed, I have a lot of coffee, right? I know coffee is bad for me. I want alternatives. So now, when I'm in a normal state, I'm going to determine what are the other options that I'm building for myself. Right? So next time I'm stressed, option 1, coffee. Do I want it? No. I'm removing that option. When I'm stressed, I'm going to take a walk. What if I can't walk? I'm going to listen to some music. What if I can't do that? I'm going to do something else. So you have 4 or 5 options automatically built in even before you're sad the next time. So the next time my sadness triggers, I know what I'm supposed to do. Not go to coffee, take a walk.
Rewire.
Right? And if this doesn't work, I'm going to do something else. So the addictions, the habits, and I use the word habit because addiction is a habit, right? So you're able to completely change that now that you have different alternatives available for you. Because when you're stressed, you're not able to think about what the alternatives are. Your brain will pick what is the easiest and the most chosen path that you have embarked on earlier. But now I'm telling myself, this is not the path I'm going to take. And a lot of times when you have people tell you, I'm going to quit smoking. But when they're stressed, they do not know anything else to do. But they tell themselves, I'm going to talk to my daughter. Or I'm going to just go play with my 2-year-old niece. Or I'm just going to listen to some music, or I'm going to take a walk, or I'm going to do 100 jumping jacks. So now I have alternatives, and that completely changes how you're able to build your habits. So next time I'm sad, I know what to do, and that will just change how you are able to look at habits. People say 21 days, you do this regularly and you will never be a victim, or you'll never be a slave of your habits. You'll never be a slave of your habits, because now you have so many options. And every time you exercise different options, you will never be addicted to anything.
From options, I have other question. I'm really sorry. Now we have options for everything. We have options for employees. We have options in our personal life also. It's like everything is available on digital. Even Swiggy नहीं workout कर रहा है तो Zomato नहीं तो Blinkit, कुछ ना कुछ we are doing that way. In the world of options, how it is affecting our focus, our mental clarity, and how to deal with it.
There's a good and a bad here, like with everything. One, it's giving you a lot of options. So right now when you need it, you're able to find a way to manage it. But it makes you handicapped when you do not have these things available. Like for an example, if the internet is out and you have to manage it. You just wouldn't know how to do it, right? So what's really important is knowing these options, knowing that I have these options to make my life easier, but I should also know the difficult way of getting it done. So when I know the difficult way of getting it done, because sometimes that road might have a lot more wisdom for me. And when I have that wisdom, I know that I can get this done here, which is going to save me time, but I'm not a slave to it. I'm not a slave to it. I know the other ways of getting it done as well, right? So for an example, Swiggy, Zomato. Let's say one night Swiggy and Zomato are not available.
Yeah.
It's raining heavily and all the riders are not available. Should I go to sleep home? Should I go to sleep hungry?
No, go cook, make it.
Now, that is what I should know,
Right.
right? I want to make my life convenient, but I should know the other part as well. So just in case this is not available, it doesn't impact me adversely.
We have to train.
Train ourselves for those options.
Now, as this entire conversation, very, very crucial part, I would like to pick it up. Relationships, personal relationships. How, I'll ask both for business as well as the personal life. Your partner, how that plays a role in your career?
It has, they play a very, very vital role.
Okay.
They play a very vital role. Sometimes, they might not do anything, and that might help you really do a lot, right? Because they're allowing you to exercise those options. When you're at your lows, the kind of support that they provide you when you're not okay, like when they come and talk to you about things and they let you know that everything's going to be okay, it gives you that push that, it is going to be okay. It is going to work out. Like in relationships, it's never 50-50. It's 100 and 100, right? So some days I might be at my 100, some days she might be at her 100. And when both of us are, when one is at 50 and the other is at 70, the person at 70 needs to pour into the person at 50. And that is how you're able to elevate yourself. Because not everybody is going to have all happy days. You will have your ups and downs. You will have your lows. You will have things that frustrate you at work, right? And when you get frustrated, and if you're at home and your partner doesn't understand and give you that space to calm down, it's going to aggravate the situation. And we don't want that aggravation. We want somebody to just be, the bottom line here, again, chief reputation officer, is communication. Letting your partner know, I've had a really bad day at work. Can you just let me be for 1 hour? I don't want to talk. I don't want to do anything. I just want my time for 1 hour. I might lock myself in my room, watch some shows, or listen to music, go out for a walk. But at that point, if somebody is not pushing your buttons, they understand you better, they really help you bounce back, right? That's when you're at a low. And when you're at your highs, you want that validation from the person who matters the most, and that's your partner. And when that validation comes in, you can jump from a 70 to 100 straight up. So your partner has everything to do with your success, personally and professionally.
Right. And also, how does the support of your business partners matters in your career? And specifically, I'm talking about businesses and entrepreneurs.
Business partners are your work spouses.
Yeah.
Right. So just how we answered the question around your spouses at home, they absolutely do the exact same thing at work. Right. So you'll have your work husbands and work wives, like work spouses,
Right.
because they are your partners for those 8 hours when you're working. They are your partners for those 8 hours when you're working. And you really want to get the same amount of validation when we're doing things right. And you want them to hold you accountable to what could be better.
Right.
Right. So, my wife helps me do that. My wife ensures that when I'm really flying too high, which is not where I'm supposed to be, she helps me ground myself. And when she knows that I am at a real low and I need some push, she'll help me fly. So when you have business partners who can do that for you in businesses, right? You will be able to excel. You'll be able to excel. Just like, it's 100 and 100. It's 100 and 100. It's never 50-50. So if I'm at a low, if I'm frustrated, the other person shouldn't be frustrated along with me,
True.
because then we'll bring the house down. If I'm frustrated, one person has to, calm down there until the other person is calm, and then we can have like a conversation. We don't want to talk angry.
Right. So that's so much of thing, and I feel like better than going to a psychiatrist, I should have this podcast with you often. So it was really insightful, lot of tools which were easy and accessible, but I think I have been not using it for long, and lot of it will help. This conversation will actually help a lot of people, I know that. So thank you really. I'm like, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, Mayank, for giving us so many tools, so much of insights and real guidance, which today we need it. It's really helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Mayank.
so much for having me here. There are so many things that I was able to recollect from what I know and share it with you. And talking to you is an absolute pleasure. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much.